Hello my friends, if you're new here, welcome to Spiritual Messages with Mariana. Today we're going to be taking yet another message and seeing what it is that you need to be hearing right now. What is it that your spirit guides in the divine want you to know about where you are right now? What does my collective need to hear at this moment? This is a timeless message, so if you're receiving this or whenever you're receiving this, this is when it's supposed to find you. Right away we have the King of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. So you may be at a point where you may be questioning your position in life, what it is that you're supposed to be doing for monetary gain, and what is it that you're supposed to be doing for your job. And this can be also intertwined with some kind of friendship rearrangement. So the friends that you've been used to hanging out with, maybe they're not the ones that you're hanging out with right now. And you're starting to really question yourself, what the people around you are actually doing, how they're positioning themselves in life. And is that the frequency and the energy that you really want to tune into? Because you know, the people who surround you, they influence you a lot. And if you have strong people around you who are very much in their King of Pentacles energy of being very grounded, working very hard for their money, having a very well structured life in terms of finances, and also when they are grounded in their body and know exactly how to position themselves in spaces and around other people. If you're around people like that, then you're also naturally going to be that way. And so we're having here a message about you're really starting to question your friendships. Am I with the right people now? Am I friendships with the right people? People who are aligning with my goals, with my future plans, with what I want to build for myself, a kind of legacy, the kind of abundance that I want to build for myself? Or is it the people who are around me, they're just there for fun and games, they're there while we're partying and having fun, and then once we're done doing that, they just disappear and they're never to be seen again? Or worse, they in fact, you know, somehow betray me. We have the Emperor. Okay, the Emperor here, right after the King of Pentacles, we have some very strong energies coming in. The Emperor is once again, he's sitting down, he's in this position of thinking. He's like considering, he's thinking like, what is this about? Angels, what is this about? Spirit guides, let me know. What is the Emperor thinking about? Okay, we have another king. The King of Cups. So we have the King of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the King of Pentacles. That's so interesting. Yes, the King of Cups and the Emperor, they're actually quite similar. And so this is the energy of really thinking about, considering your environment, your surroundings. It doesn't even have to be the people that you're friends with necessarily. It can also be, you know, your co-workers, your family, your community around you. You're really considering right now, collective, what is it that this place and these people in this place, where are they taking me? Where is this bringing me to? What is the direction that this ship is going towards, right? And is that direction that I really want to be in? We have the Moon and the Three of Pentacles. What I'm seeing right now is that you're in a moment where you're discovering yourself and you're discovering that you have a lot of fears and a lot of blocks and a lot of things to be healed. And you may be in a situation where you're not necessarily in the best financial situation. You may be lacking, you know, savings. You may be lacking some money in terms of maybe you're not earning enough. Maybe you're not earning as much as you want to, or as much as you believe that you should be for your pay. And so all of this is what is actually brought you to this point of sitting down and trying to understand, is there something that you're doing that is leaking your energy and that is leaking your creative energy and your ability to, you know, manifest money and abundance and finances into your life? So what is the advice here for my collective, Spirit? I have the Three of Swords. Yes, I see that you have been betrayed in the past. And also we have the, okay, this card is reversed, the High Priestess. Your ability to trust yourself has been broken by a betrayal in the past, collective. And so now the result of that is now you don't trust yourself. You've gotten to this point where you don't trust yourself or your ability to communicate, to express yourself, or to be intuitive in some sort of way. So your authenticity is really built upon intuitively getting what you want. And because you have been hurt in the past, you have surrendered this pain, and you have surrendered this power over your life to other people. But you've gotten to the point where you realize that where you're going is not where you want to be going. That is not the destination you have been destined with going. And that is making you question everything. That is making you have a little bit of awakening. The Wheel of Fortune and Strength. This is forcing you to look at what your destiny is supposed to be, where you're supposed to be going, instead of where you're being taken due to other people taking you there, and is forcing you to find the strength within you to actually go towards where you're supposed to be going, towards your destiny. What I'm really picking up as well here is that there's two sides of you, because we have the wounded High Priestess and we also have all of these kings and this assertive energy going on in the reading. And so what I'm picking up on as well is that you have these two sides of you, like two sides of a coin. And one side of you is this really strong, assertive, knows what they want, uses their voice consciously, has a very deep and assertive voice person. One side of you is very good with money and putting away money and saving and creating, you know, environments where people are able to follow you and leading in some kind of way. One part of you knows their worth and is not willing to put up with less than their worth, because they know what they bring to the table, and because what you bring to the table is actually really good and you recognize that. But the other side of you is very insecure, very shy, maybe speaks in a little bit of a lower tone of voice, is a little bit, you know, assumes like a little bit of a hunched over posture, a little bit more closed off personality. And what I'm picking up on is that you come in and out of these two personalities. So the first personality that I described of the strong, really grounded person is your true personality. And the second personality that I described is your wounded personality, the one that resulted from the betrayal that you've had in the past, this really deep hurt that you've experienced. Over and over again, when I'm hearing there's this one, you know, main painful point, but that actually was not the only one that had happened. You have had several moments of pain and being hurt. So this second personality, or second version of yourself, comes from that wounding that you've experienced. And this is somebody who's not, this part of you is not in your power, is very much submissive and very much in tune with what other people want to do and want you to do, and you do that. And so what I'm hearing here is that this split in personality is starting to become conscious for you. You're starting to observe that around certain people, you are one person, and around other people, you are another person. And this is why it's made you question what your relationships are actually doing in your life, and if you should be keeping or not some friendships, because you realize that around certain people you behave in a more assertive way, in a more in tune way with your true self, and around other people you behave more submissive, more, you don't really say what you want to say, you don't say what you mean to say, you kind of stay small, you kind of try to shrink yourself and not be noticed, not attract too much attention, so you're not the person who is being, the center of attention in the room, because around those people you don't feel safe being the center of attention, and you may feel even a little bit threatened in a subconscious level. And so what I'm hearing is that there is this dissonance between who you are and who you want to be in certain rooms that you walk into, and that is making you question your environments. Let's see any more messages for my collective right here watching this video. You're starting to question your environment, and you're starting to understand that maybe we have the 5 of Cups. Yes. Grieving, and the 7 of Wands. Being constantly on the fence. You're starting to realize that certain environments invite you to be not in your power, and invite you to be somebody who you're not. To be sad, to be always, going through really difficult emotions. And to be always on the offense, or more so defense. You're always having to defend yourself. You're always having to, be ready for a battle. Be ready for a dispute. And this is making you realize that you're not happy with that. You're not happy with the situation, with this environment that you're in. You're starting to think that maybe, I'm really picking up on is that maybe you should leave, honestly. A certain environment, a certain relationship, a certain place. Let's see any more messages, Spirit. Spirit guides for this collective watching this video. We have the 4 of Cups. Yes. You're just in this observation mode, but you're not really taking any action. And the Hermit, exactly. You're not taking any action right now. You're not leaving, even though you realize that maybe you should leave this situation. Maybe this person that is that you're in a relationship with, or this environment that you find yourself over and over again, or this friend group that you communicate with all of the time, that you feel like it's draining your energy and pulling you towards something that you're not. You're really not that person that you are having to embody when you're in those circumstances. You're not really taking any action on that. You're really sleeping on this. You're really thinking about this very deeply. And it's almost sending you into this very closed off energy, this very reserved energy of not really wanting to be around those people, but not exactly leaving the situation. So when you're being invited by your friends to hang out, you find a reason not to go to the hangout, but you're not exactly saying that you don't want to be part of the friend group anymore. Or if you're in a relationship, you're maybe finding ways like saying, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like, fighting, I don't feel like having this conversation right now. And you're going to your corner and doing your thing, but you don't really say that you want to leave the relationship. This could also mean that You know that somebody is actively not for you and you've recognized that they're not compatible, but you are deciding not to leave the relationship anyway and you're dragging it out. We have the Nine of Pentacles. So the Hermit and the Nine of Pentacles here tell me that you're somebody who is supposed to shine. The Five of Wands. You're somebody who's supposed to be heard, and you're somebody who is supposed to make themselves be seen and make themselves be the center of attention. This is your destiny. This is what the Wheel of Fortune is here to tell you, that this is your destiny, that you're supposed to be somebody who is in their power, who has the financial abundance and who has built that financial abundance from themselves. The Ace of Pentacles, but is at the bottom of the deck, which is you're not expecting this, okay? Ace of Pentacles talks about financial opportunities. So what I'm really picking up on is that you're this person who's supposed to be in their power in terms of finances, in terms of expressing themselves, in terms of making their voice be heard in a room full of people. However, you're not able to because your energy is so drained. You're questioning so many things in this toxic situation, whether it is an environment or relationship, is clearly taking way too much from you than what you can handle.